So again, welcome. And today is the third and final training session of the cohort that we're currently ongoing, which is the fourth cohort. And we will be talking about campaign management. So today's session will be quite brief. Again, as I always encourage, feel free to interject if you have any questions, or if you do prefer to put them in the chat section, please feel free to do so. Once we're done with today's session, I would want each of us to share an update on the progress we've made. We do have a goal of having your campaigns go live by the latest next week, Friday. So I'd love to see what you've been able to do so far, and also share maybe some of the challenges, if any, that you're facing for us to assist further, and also some of the things that you have enjoyed doing while creating your campaign. So again, I've said today we're talking about campaign management, which is very important. While you're creating a campaign, also when your campaign is live, and also as it comes to an end, there's a type of sort of management that has to be implemented to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So, like I said, to run a successful campaign, it does require you to be able to manage it in a way that allows people to allow things to move smoothly. There has to be some sort of planning, of course, the execution that you decide to implement, and also the engagement that you'll have with the people who are supporting you. All this combined does help you have a good and successful campaign. It does also maintain engagement with people as you continue to run your campaign. So here are some of the checklists we encourage you to have. And it's one, how to manage a crowdfunding campaign once it goes live. Second is how to monitor the progress of a campaign, because it is important for you to monitor a progress to see whether what you've implemented is actually working for your campaign. And if not, what are some of the adjustments you may need to do to allow your campaign to be successful. And the last one is how to plan and execute post campaign activities. And that is after a campaign comes to an end, there are certain follow ups and activities that need to be managed. And how do you plan to do so? So let's start with managing a campaign that's live. One of the main things that you need to do to have a good campaign and manage it well when it's live is making sure that you have a compelling pitch. I believe I shared this with you in the previous session where I said it's very important for you to be able to pitch your campaign to people. And the reason is because that maybe crowdfunding is a new concept to your networks, or people want to understand a little bit better why you've launched a campaign before contributing. And it's important for you to share a great pitch. One of the Some of the advice I gave you was to practice it in front of the mirror, or to record yourself sharing a pitch, and or to present it in front of friends or family and allow them to give you feedback. On top of that, when you're creating your pitch, there are three things that I encourage your pitch to be. It needs to be extremely clear, it needs to be concise, and it needs to be compelling. So make sure that you're able to go straight to the point without limiting the amount of information that you're giving. But at the same time, it also needs to be compelling. And some of the things I think we shared in order for you to provide a compelling pitch is to allow people to see the journey that you've gone through your business through your eyes. So allow them to see some of the things, how you were inspired to start your business. Allow them to understand some of the struggles maybe you went through and how you're able to overcome them. Also, allow them to see some of the success you've had, because people are more willing to support a business that has already been able to gain some kind of success on their own. And for them, they'll see that I'm just coming to kind of propel you to the next level of your business. The next thing that we encourage when it comes to managing a live campaign is building the community of backers. So building your supporters even starts before your campaign goes live. We always encourage you to list down your networks, divide them into the different categories, as well as try and figure out what would be the best mode of communication towards them. Being able to prepare them before your campaign goes live, so that once your campaign goes live, they are already aware mentally and also financially that you are launching a campaign. So, in order for you to have a great live campaign, it's important for you to start reaching out to your networks in advance. So, I hope you've already started doing so, as we've shared that it will be very beneficial to your campaign. Another thing when it comes to managing your live campaign is being able to communicate effectively with your backers. So communication is very important with even the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. It's very important for you to communicate with your supporters. So some of the things that you can communicate to them is giving them updates of the progress that you've been able to have so far with your campaign. And some of the ideas I gave people is, for example, prior to launching your campaign, you can do a countdown to the day of launching your campaign. That is, if you decide to use social media and even WhatsApp as well and messaging, you can give people daily um, messages and just tell them that it's 3 days to my campaign, it's 2 days to my campaign. Today's the launch of the campaign. As the campaign is live, you can also update people that maybe you've been able to raise 15% and thank the supporters that you've had so far and just encourage people to continue contributing. The more people see the progress, the more people will be willing to push for you and want you to reach the 100% mark or even more. So in order for you to have that, it's very important for you to engage with your supporters in whichever mode of communication that you're using. It's also important for you to respond to any comments or questions that they may have. Allow them to feel very comfortable with understanding what exactly it is you're doing. So for any questions that they may have, it is important for you to have good prompt answers, and you're able to satisfy them with the answers that you have. And also, another thing is just thanking them for their support. Support comes in different ways. It could either be people supporting you financially, or it could also be people sharing your campaign with their networks as well, which is a great way of them to support you. So it's important for you to thank them for any support that they've been able to provide. Another way to manage a good live campaign is being able to offer attractive rewards and perks. So, one of the motivating factors that people will have to contribute is knowing that they're able to receive rewards out of it. You will have those few people who would want to contribute solely out of wanting to support and may not necessarily select a reward, but there are people who may need a little bit more convincing. So, when it comes to setting up your rewards, it's important for you to add attractive rewards and perks that people may find may want to purchase. And when it comes to setting up your rewards, different campaigns set up different rewards. One of the main guides on knowing whether your reward is a great reward is observing your supporters and your networks and seeing what would work well for them. Once you create your rewards, reach out to close friends and families and ask them whether they find value in some of the rewards you set up. Do they find them attractive? And also get their opinion. I always say when it comes to creating a campaign, working with your community is very helpful. It allows you to come up with great ideas when it comes to creating your content for your campaign. Okay. So, any questions up to there?
Nothing so far.
Okay, great. Again,
Nothing.
yes,
No, I'm fine.
did you have a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
actually, I think I do have a question, Rose.
sure.
I wanted to find out, are you able to readjust the rewards once the campaign is live and once you see what people are responding to?
Yes, so you may not, if a campaign has been purchased, sorry, if a reward has been purchased, you may not be able to readjust, but what you can do is you can create a new reward and hide the one that has already been purchased. So what
Oh, okay,
happens
cool.
is, yeah, if it's already been purchased, if we delete it, then we delete the details of the people who have already purchased it. So what we can do is we can hide it and then create a new one and add it. A campaign is very customizable even after a campaign launches. What happens is if there are any drastic changes, for example, in your story or in your goal amount, those ones need to be communicated to people who have already purchased any reward or contributed. And the reason why we say so is just because we want to provide transparency to them. So, for
Mm-hmm,
example, if you
mm-hmm.
had a goal for 150,000 rand and you want to reduce it to 100,000, for those who already contributed, we encourage that you send them an email and just allow them to know that I have adjusted my, my goal for whatever reason. You can share with them, and they do appreciate that transparency as well. Yeah.
Okay. And then I wanted to find out, is it the same with the video? Because the video that I have right now,
Yeah,
I think I want to submit. I'm done with
yeah,
filling up everything. I want to submit,
yeah,
but we're still shooting and want to edit another video. Are we able to
yeah.
change that video?
Yes, changing the video is possible, and that one you don't necessarily need to notify your supporters. So it is very
Okay.
possible for you to change that. What we do say is that communicate with us, and we will help you make those adjustments and advise accordingly. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Awesome. So now we are now moving towards monitoring the progress of your campaigns. This is very important because if you are launching a campaign for the first time, you are anticipating what might happen in terms of the traction that you're getting. You may start off really well and that's good for you. And for some other businesses, they may start a bit slower. So the reason why it's important for you to monitor your progress is to understand whether some of the things that you've implemented, are they working for you? And if they're not, what can I do differently? So when it comes to monitoring your campaign, one of the things we say is track the key performance metrics. And it's important for you to do so just to see the number of backers that you've been able to have maybe in the first few days of your campaign. We always say campaigns that are able to gain traction in the beginning tend to end up being successful. But we've also said that it doesn't mean that you should give up hope if you don't have good traction in the beginning. We've seen campaigns pick up in the middle of a campaign and end up having a great campaign. But it is important for you to monitor the number of supporters, to monitor also the amount that has been raised. Compare these statistics with the existing networks that you had. One of the things is that our team is able to provide to you the list of supporters and how much they've raised, and it allows you to gauge and see what you've been able to do so far. So again, it's very important for you to look at the numbers. It is really helpful to see what you've implemented works. Another thing is identify trends and patterns. The reason why this is important is if you end up changing up some of the things you do, it's important to see what you changed and the effect it had to the campaign. Okay. For example, maybe you are putting social media posts and it wasn't maybe working very well. And then you decided to do one on one phone calls with people, and that really did increase the number of supporters. And then you realize, you know what, that particular trend is working for me. So it's very important for you to identify the trends, look at the amounts that have been contributed, at what period of time they were contributed, and to see what exactly you did during that period of time to either spike your contributions or maybe if it affected and lowered your contributions as well. Also, again, making data driven decisions. So it's important for you to use the data that has been collected to your campaign to make informed decisions. It's important for you, and it does help you optimize some of the strategies that you've implemented, and it also helps you kind of adjust what needs to be done. So I think one of the repetitive things when it comes to monitoring your campaign is analyzing the data of your campaign. That is very important. Sometimes people launch a campaign and don't really follow up on it. And at the end of the month, when their campaign has maybe only 100 rand or zero, they ask what happened. And one of the things we ask them is, what are some of the things you implemented? Did you monitor your campaign? No, they just launched and continued with their day to day activities. It doesn't work like that. We always say when you have your campaign, it does become like a second job. You really have to monitor and follow up on it. So whenever you're making any decisions, monitor what has already been done to see whether the decisions you're making are ideal for your campaign. And the final one, I think, is responding to feedback from backers. It is important to listen to your supporters, listen to what they have to say, and also to respond to some of the feedback or questions they may have. Sometimes you are surprised that some of the networks you have maybe are aware about crowdfunding, have engaged in one, and maybe want to give you some tips or some things that they think would be beneficial for you. So it's very important for you to engage with your backers. On the campaign, it is possible for someone to leave a comment while they are contributing. So it's important for you to review those comments just to see some of the things that they've shared and said. Some of them might be them thanking you. Okay. They are allowed to post it anonymously, and for others, they are able to put in their names. And for those who put in their names, and if you do know them, follow up and thank them for the comment and so on. Okay. Now, post campaign activities. One of the most important things that people need to follow up on, and sometimes they don't. The fact that you've set up rewards means that the rewards need to be followed up on. So one of the most important activities when it comes to post campaign is making sure that you fulfill the rewards and the packs that have been purchased by your backers. So when we were going through the platform last week, you did have the option of stating when the reward will be delivered to them. We do encourage that you make sure that you keep your promise and make sure that the rewards are delivered on the date that had been stated. Sometimes things do happen and we come across delays. That is okay. Make sure that you do communicate to them and let them know that yes, we had communicated that your reward maybe will be delivered in August, but we are experiencing a delay, and we do estimate your reward to be delivered in, let's say, September. Apologize to them and just tell them that their patience will be highly appreciated, and you're working hard to make sure that their rewards are delivered. So, in as much as you may not fulfill it at the time that had been stipulated, you are communicating to them and you are letting them know. So, communication is very important, and making sure that you fulfill the rewards is very important. Another thing that's very important and sometimes people forget is thanking them. People don't take that for granted. It's important to thank their supporters. They would have opted to continue with their day-to-day activities and ignored your campaign, or maybe did not see the value in wanting to support your campaign. So it is important to make sure that you do have a thank you message to all your supporters. Like we said, we do share the details of all your supporters. We do share their name, their email address, their phone numbers for those who want to share their phone numbers. So please make sure that you do thank your supporters for being able to contribute towards your campaign. And also, it gives them an opportunity for you to engage with them as well. Sometimes we've seen campaign creators engage with their supporters and also end up having maybe collaborations with them. Maybe they work in similar job sectors and they are beneficial to each other. So it is important to make sure you engage with them. You would be surprised the value that you can get from some of the supporters that you have. Okay. So in conclusion, what I would say is by following those tips and strategies that we have outlined in not only today's session, but also the previous session, we definitely see that you will be equipped to not only manage your campaign effectively, but also make sure that you engage with your supporters, which is very important. It allows you to monitor your progress because, like we said, monitoring your progress allows you to see what is working, what is not working, and adjusting accordingly. It helps you to overcome some of the challenges that you may experience and plan things better. And it also allows you to also execute post campaign activities accordingly. So another thing we also say is just remember to be flexible. Remember to be willing to adapt to changes and circumstances. Some things may not work for you in the beginning of the campaign. Be flexible enough to be willing to adjust. And some things may not work in the middle or towards the end. Be willing to maybe research and see what can I do differently. Okay. And also be open and transparent to your supporters. And that's why, Skinny, I was saying, if you find yourself making some adjustments to your campaign, transparency is very important, and communicating to your supporters is also very important. So that comes to the end of today's session. I told you it would be short and quick. Are there any questions from anyone from today's content?
From my side, I really don't have any questions. I think for this week, I really went back to all the emails and the attachments that you sent us.
Yeah.
For me to be able to just complete the application.
Yeah.
I'm just now getting over my need for perfection,
Yes.
and I promise to submit tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll just
Great.
get over my need for perfection. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're able to submit earlier, the better, so that our team can review and see what you've been able to submit and advise accordingly to allow your campaign to be ready by the end of next week. Okay.
Okay, so there is communication before the campaign goes live
Absolutely.
from you
Yes.
guys in terms
Yes,
of
yes.
things we need to add or change.
Yes, yes. So once you submit,
Okay.
within 24 hours, someone will communicate to you via email. So make sure to check
Mm-hmm.
email, and they will be giving you feedback on what you've submitted. And in case there's any adjustments, they will advise on how to maybe adjust or approach it differently. And feel free to engage with the email. They will she will respond back with any questions that you may have. Absolutely. So we do communicate. A campaign won't go live without your permission. So yes.
Okay. No, from my side, Rose, I really appreciate your time over the past 2 to 3 weeks.
You're welcome.
You really have assisted us, and I promise to make you proud.
Awesome. Thank you. Happy to hear that. Okay,
Sure.
great. In case there are no other questions, any questions from anyone else on the progress you've made?
No questions.
Yeah. And do you want to share the progress you've made so far with your campaign?
Well, in our campaign, I work with a team because my company is a group of people that we work together.
Okay.
And we are working together to make sure that we do great progress. So lately we have been struggling a little bit with which rewards we want to give out and how much are we aiming for.
Yeah.
But then we came to conclusion with what we want and where we are going. So
Okay.
yeah, we have been pretty good lately, and we really appreciate your time and the lessons that you have been giving us. So that's all.
Awesome. You're welcome. Do you have an estimated time when you think you'll be able to submit what you have so far?
Maybe by this week we'll be done.
Okay.
Or
That's
next
great.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. So great.
Mm.
The earlier the better, but I'm glad to hear that progress has been made with each of your campaigns. At the end of the day, like we said, there will be once you submit, someone will be reaching out to you via email with further guidance on maybe some of the changes that may be required, if any, that is, and just a bit more information and details about your campaign. Feel free to engage with the email that you sent, ask any questions that you may have for further assistance. And once everything is ready, they will be able to post your campaign live. An email will be shared with a direct link to your campaign that you can now start using to share with people. So, referencing our previous session where we did talk a lot about communication and how to reach out to people, start working on that. Start reaching out to people, allow them to know in advance that you are working on a campaign that will be going live soon, just to allow them to prepare themselves mentally, financially, and also be aware of some of the things that you're working on. Okay.
Yeah, because lately we have few people who are willing to donate to the campaign.
Yeah.
We have been communicating, and we have been making social platforms for people to follow us and see what we are up to lately.
That's great.
So
yeah. And one of the things I was saying is also the first goal we encourage is at least hitting that 3,000 rand first, because that's what activates the matching funds. And again, you as an individual, the owner of the business, are allowed to contribute a maximum of 2,500 rand to your own campaign if you feel like you want to contribute that in the beginning to help you reach that first goal of 3,000. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I really appreciate you sparing your time to attend the training sessions. I hope you found value in it. And again, we are always available to follow up on anything that you may need. Okay. Again, we will follow up this training session with an email of the presentation as well as the recording as well. I want to wish you all the best as you run your campaign. And again, we are in this journey with you. We will help you and guide you as you continue to run your campaign.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Okay, thank you as well, and do enjoy the rest of it.
Sure, you too, ma'am.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.